Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official college football week number 12 upset alert, where I put certain teams on upset alert for this upcoming week. And guys, I do have to say I am changing my upset pick here in this first game. Back on Monday, I did predict West Virginia to win. Due to the current weather conditions, it's going to be very cold. I think that plays to Kansas State's advantage. My prediction on this game has changed to a Kansas State victory, and I love the under. Believe it's 54.5. Love the under due to the weather. West Virginia, it's not like they're, cold weather or something new to them. I just think the way the game is going to be played based on the 32-degree temperature, based on the fact that this is a 2 o'clock game, it's going to suit Kansas State more. So I am changing that, and I do think that Kansas State's going to win this game 24-14 due to the impact of the weather suiting their team more. This is the big noon game. It is TCU and Baylor. And guys, I think at some point, TCU is going to lose one of these close games. Now, last week, I feel like TCU gained a lot of trust for many people. The way they handled Texas on the road, 7.5-point underdogs, they go in there, and it was a real surprising defensive game. Quinn Ewers, not good. The TCU offense really shut down as well. Almost a shutout at half. It was 3-0 TCU. Let's not overreact to one game, guys. TCU, for much of this year, has been a team where they get down early, they're down in the third quarter, and then they come back. I feel like it's going to happen one too many times, and they will lose. I know this is not a popular opinion because people saw last week against Texas, and now everyone thinks TCU is going to go undefeated. I realize that, but this is the Big 12. When everyone zigs, you got to zag. You got to predict something different because something different normally will happen. The general consensus, the general theme I've seen among college football fans is that TCU, after their big win where they controlled Texas, they're going to go undefeated. They're going to make the playoff. I would not be so sure on that. They're just sitting right now around a 2.5 or a 3-point favorite. Baylor at home. And then I will say the other thing, Baylor getting destroyed last week does not help things, but still, to me, it was an aberration performance. They do have a solid offense. I'm expecting a higher scoring game. I love the over. They're expecting really good weather in Texas on Saturday, so I will take the over, and I like Baylor to win this game outright. Next, we have NC State and Louisville. So this spread is down to 4.5, and guys, there are some question marks with Malik Cunningham and his availability. NC State, of course, coming off that miserable performance last week where they lost to Boston College as 19-point favorites. But guys, this is a correction game. NC State has a very good defense. I would not be surprised at all if NC State wins this game outright, just based off of the way they play, each week. They're very inconsistent. I know they still have a bad offense without Devin Leary, but I think NC State keeps this game closer. I would not be surprised if they won outright against the Louisville team, who does play better at home, but the quarterback injury issues could be a factor in this one. It will be close either way. Next, we have Texas at Kansas. So I'm not sure exactly what to make of this game, to be completely honest, because I will say I like the over, but it is going to be cold in Lawrence tomorrow. I believe it's going to be 33 degrees. So this was my original prediction. I've got it at 45-44. It feels like, Kansas plus the 9 is too good to be true. I'm staying away from it, but I will say, as long as the weather cooperates, Texas offense is due for an explosion after last week. Kansas's defense is terrible. Terrible. They do have a decent offense, but I would be very surprised if Texas does not at least score 40 points in this game. So I think Kansas plus 9 might be fool's gold, But I will say, as long as the weather cooperates, I'm going to be coming out with another weather video as well, guys, and we're really going to be diving into this and really looking at it. But that is my one concern. If it was 55 degrees, 60 degrees, I would say full systems go, take the over. My concern here is it's looking like it's going to be right around freezing. It's going to be clear, but if it's 32 degrees, Texas is really not going to want to play in that weather, which might mitigate the fact that this is a great matchup for their offense facing a horrible defense. And then on the other hand, we know Kansas can score. This Texas defense, they played well against TCU, but they've been known to give up points against pretty much everyone in the Big 12. Next, we have Ole Miss at Arkansas. I really like this as a correction game. I like Arkansas to win this game outright. I just feel like Ole Miss is not a lot, but I feel like they are worse than their record. And Arkansas, even dealing with the quarterback injury they currently have, I'm going to have to check up on that. I like them to possibly win a close game, guys. Remember, Arkansas almost beat LSU last week. LSU annihilated Ole Miss. I know using transitive property is a fool's game. It doesn't work, but still, it just feels like Ole Miss should have more losses than they currently do. Just a weird team, Ole Miss, because they completely outplayed Alabama, but that whole Ole Miss-Alabama game was so odd. Like, I gotta have to go. Somebody go back and watch that game, and just the crowd energy was so bad for Ole Miss. You know what I think it was? It was really cold. That might have explained it. But my God, I've never seen a crowd that dead in the SEC in a top 12 matchup. I think it was 11 versus 9, and Ole Miss was outplaying Alabama. They outplayed them throughout the whole game. They outgained them by 150 yards. But it was so weird. I don't know, guys. I think Arkansas at home, they came so close last week against LSU. They're facing a worse team. It's going to be a little colder. This is going to play to their strength, running the ball, and they're going to win a close one, maybe even lower scoring than that. We'll see. Next, we have USC and UCLA. So I think this game is actually 8 o'clock, guys. I apologize for putting it at 7:30. What is the ABC game this week, man? I'm going to have to look that up. Either way, guys, I like UCLA. This is an amazing matchup for UCLA's offense going up against a very suspect USC defense that gives up around 400 yards per game. Guys, Zach Charbonnet, Thompson Robinson, Chip Kelly, this is perfect for them. This is the perfect situation. I've got it at a 50 burger. It might be a little bit less than that. But still, right now, USC, they were -2.5. They went down to -1. Now they're back up to -2.5. To me, that's great value on UCLA. USC is hanging on by a thread in terms of their playoff hopes. I will say it is funny. USC has one loss, and that one loss is by 1 point on the road at Utah. So that's impressive. You look at that, their one loss is really impressive, but then you look at some of their wins and their turnover margin and their defensive analytics, and it's like this team is due to get crushed. Like, they're overdue to have one of these games where they get destroyed or at least, beat up on a little bit in terms of the lack of defensive talent USC currently has. Lincoln Riley trying to transition. He's done a great job of it, but this was always going to be kind of like a rebuilding year, in my opinion, for USC. I would not be surprised at all. They lose this game and then maybe lose another game, honestly. To me, they've outperformed their expectations. And then the final one, guys, it's Utah at Oregon. So sad that this game is on at 10:30. Really, this game should be in the 3:30 window. I have no clue why it's not. Apparently, people were saying it's due to TV rights. It just sucks because this game, Utah at Oregon, there's major question marks surrounding Bo Nix. And guys, so I Googled Bo Nix this morning. And do you want to know if he's playing or not? I can't tell you. This is college football. This is what happens every week. I look up Bo Nix and they're like, oh, will he play? I don't know. That's why I'm Googling it. And of course, they're not going to say anything. This is the problem with college injuries. We don't know if Bo Nix is playing or not, guys. I don't know how to make a prediction on this game. I think this is probably my prediction if the backup quarterback plays. I still think Oregon has talent. Their backup quarterback, Thompson, was a former fringe 5-star prospect. They're at home. There's going to be great crowd energy. I feel like Bo Nix is going to try and gut this out, guys. I feel like Bo Nix is going to try and play. But then now we encounter another set of issues. He's not 100%. Maybe he doesn't have the mobility, right? So it's like I would just stay away, and it sucks that this is happening because this is such a good game, and I would love to actually analyze it, but I just can't analyze it because it's like, well, what if Bo Nix doesn't play? What if he plays, but he's 50%? I'm going to say Utah's a really good team. Analytics, metrics love Utah. So I'm going to say they win with the Bo Nix uncertainty, the Bo Nix injury. If Bo Nix was healthy, I think Oregon wins this game. And Oregon opened the week as 3-point favorites. It's flipped completely because there is a lot of uncertainty surrounding Bo Nix. I'm sure we won't get a final answer until probably tomorrow afternoon because this game's on at 10:30 Eastern. So that game there. And then just another one that's not on here I wanted to talk about is the Georgia Southern game against Marshall. And guys, I like Georgia Southern to win that game outright as 4.5-point underdogs. I've said, a few times this week that I just think Marshall this year has been really inconsistent. And people seem to be roped back in because their defense is playing well. But if there's one thing we know about Marshall, again, they're inconsistent. They're due for a loss. Georgia Southern throws the ball all over the place. They've got a way better offense, and they're at home. Normally, when you have a home team that's like a 4-point underdog, a 3-point underdog, there is good value on that. So, guys, this week it's going to be heavy weather impact. I'm going to talk about the weather probably in my next video, but I did want to get some upset picks. I think the biggest storyline this week, if USC loses and if TCU loses, now Tennessee is basically guaranteed to make the playoff. Now the loser of Ohio State, Michigan possibly still has a path to the playoff. And that is the biggest storyline. The TCU Baylor game is massive. The USC UCLA game is massive, guys, when it comes to the playoff. But that's going to do it for my official college football upset picks here for week number 12. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.